Alright guys, I'm picking up where I left off in the last video. We kind of just loaded the boss into the world, and when it gets loaded, it's just smack in the middle, and it has no cool like entry scene. So I'm gonna make a cooler entrance scene. This is kind of dumb that it puts it into the world and then it just smacks it right into the middle. So I'm going to show you how to use a tween, and we're going to move the boss in a cooler way to put it into the middle. So this will be part of my starting the fight in some way kind of deal. Okay, so we need to pick two positions, or maybe two spots. We already got one spot, which is her final resting location of where she needs to go to. Now we need to give her a place to fly from. I can play my let me play my version of this so you can see what I'm talking about. Right here, it puts the text on the screen, and she's flying from way back there, and then she ends in the middle. So we're gonna pick that spot where she comes from. So the camera on mine is over here, and so we want to make her fly from like somewhere way back here. I could grab a node. Maybe I add a node so I can get that location. Let's do a marker, and let's move the marker. Right? So I could grab that marker and I could just move it to a spot where I think she needs to come from. I don't know, something like that, maybe. You can put it wherever you want. If you want her to come off from this side or that side, or maybe she comes from behind the planet. I don't know. Whatever you want. But I'm just using this marker to get my spot. So transform. Here's my numbers to where to come from. Let's go back to our squirt holder. Nope, our squirt spawn point holder. Location to arrive from. And that location's going to be a vector 3, which is 3 points, x, y, z. Our x is going to be 0, our y is going to be 37.5, and our z is going to be negative 647.5. Alright, that's that random location I found. I could also, instead of physically typing in that location, I could give this guy a name, like boss spawn point. Boss spawn origin. Right? And then instead of physically typing in that number right there every time, I could use that thing. So I could give it a unique name. I right click on it, unique name. And then I could say at on ready var boss spawn origin. I could just say origin here if I wanted to. Boss origin is equal to get node. And then I'm just going to use his exact name. So right there, right there. So this is the origin point. And instead of typing that every time, and I could use this dot global. Alright, so I'm going to prove to you that it does that right there. It's typing it, or it gives me that location. So then if I run it, you're going to see in the printout down here, there's those numbers without me typing it. Mr. Oversaw, sorry, type it right there. Okay, Mr. Smart Pants. If I grab this thing, and now I decide I don't want her to come from right there, I want her to come from right here, and I move it back farther. Now the number is 1000. I didn't type it. if I run it again. What numbers do I got? Oh, what do you know? It moved. So now that spawn point is where I want her, or the spoon, or the boss to come from. Okay, so solved one problem. That's where I want her to go to. Ending point come from this location, which is the original point. So this is just, this way is the dumb way. I think I did show you guys how to use a tween. So this is the dumb way. Let's do a smart way, cool way. Mover tween is equal to create tween. And what do we want this tween to do? Well, we want this tween to take this new boss and have a final resting location of right there. Okay, so let's do mover tween dot tween property. This is a property. This spot right here, this position, is a property. And you'll notice when I did it, I used the global position as my property. So I'll say global position. How does he know to put it as a string? Well, right there, if you read this. Oh, see, that wasn't even supposed to be a string. I was not silly, Mr. Eversole. The first thing's the object. Look at that. I was messing it up. I was trying to put global position first. No, we need to put the thing we're changing. And how did I know I made a mistake? Well, I read with my little eyeballs that this says, what is the object you want to change? Well, it's the new boss. So I'll say new boss, comma, what's the next thing it needs? Next thing it needs is the property. The property is whatever that thing is over there. So we're going to use this property, the global position. And this needs to be a string. I thought it would say string right there, but it doesn't. So lowercase global position P-O-S-I-T-I-O-N. Yes, I really am that bad at spelling. Final location. This is our ending point. We're going to grab this. Ending location is where we want to stop. Right there. And how long do we want it to take? Let's do 3 seconds. Okay. So move to this ending point with style. Alright. This is taking us to the ending point. It's going to take us from where we spawned. Currently it spawned at that. Remember when I first did it did it like the center. Let's not let it do that. So we're going to set the spawn point at that really far back place, which is not going to be this ending point. It's going to be our boss origin. So let's grab that. So after you spawn the boss and you load him in and you give him to the correct child, you're going to create a tween, and then you're going to want to start him out at the origin point. And then you want to use this cool loader to pull him into the final location. Let's see if that does that. So we load it. It should just immediately appear way in the back. We can't even see it. That's how far away it was. And it pulled it forward, taking 3 seconds. Let's do it again. Dang it. I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. From the far back, soup. There it is. Boss appeared, and it didn't it wasn't just there. It had to move from one spot to the next. Now, our last thing is to start the fight in some meaningful way. So after this thing is done, we want to start the battle. So I'm going to make another function. Function boss battle begins. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm going to say boss fight starts. So we need to call this function does some stuff after boss is ready to tango. All right. Now, the boss, maybe your boss doesn't immediately start fighting. Maybe it yells at you or mocks you, or maybe some other stuff needs to load, like maybe his health bar, or maybe you stick all that in here. I don't know. But the point is, after the boss loads, you then need to call some other function to keep those dominoes falling down the line, right? All right, so there's another function in tweens, or another method you can use in there in the tweens that will allow you to call a function after it's done. It looks like this: mover tween dot tween callback. Tween callback calls a function after this. So after this thing's done loading, then a function can get called. And the function I want to call is going to be boss battle begins, and then it'll say boss fight starts. I'm also going to raise the time right here just because for whatever reason my computer's loading really slow. I obviously didn't optimize, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. I hit run. Why are we maxed out? There we go. Thing loads, and it's taking 6 seconds, so I had enough time to look at it. And you'll see once it hits the spot where it needs to be, boss fight starts. That did not print until he reached the final location of where he needed to load. So zoop, it moves all the way to the spot. Done. Boss fight starts. And that could be something, boss starts mocking you, blah, blah, blah. All right, this is going to be a shorter video, but this is the cleanup to the last one where we kind of loaded the boss and put him in. In the next couple videos, we'll be starting to program the actual boss, meaning after the boss gets into the world, we're going to move the boss around into, oops, that's stupid. We're going to move the boss around in different ways for the player to have to dodge what it's doing, and then we're going to call different attacks. We're going to call different sounds. We'll probably end up adding sounds. We'll call different animations. We'll fire projectiles. We got all that stuff to do to make our game keep going. But we've loaded our boss in. If you get to this spot, you're doing great. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.